Thank you all for joining us for the Citation Manager Showdown workshop. Today's workshop speakers are Priscilla Finley, Humanities Librarian, UNLV Libraries, Sue Wainscott, Engineering Librarian, UNLV Librarians. Priscilla and Sue are going to discuss when and how to use two different key citation management software applications. I'll now hand it over to Sue and Priscilla to get us started.
Thank you. Thanks for having us today. So Mendeley, RefWorks, and Zotero are three great tools for building a personal library that you can use to organize your sources. And then you can take your sources and use the software to create citations and bibliographies for your writing. Our goal today is to help you compare the three and select the best one for your needs. We do have a website that accompanies this presentation with links where you can download each of these or connect with each of these services, as well as 5-minute videos that demonstrate the process of collecting a citation and writing a citation into your own writing using the software. We just pasted that into the chat for you. So I'm Priscilla. I will be showing you Zotero today. Sue is going to be taking the lead on Mendeley and RefWorks.
Hello.
Hello. So you made a good call taking part in this workshop. These are all great tools for building a personal library. We just wanted to clarify that the main benefit of a citation manager is that it's keeping track of all the details of things that you read. So the pieces that you would need to write bibliographical entries. A citation manager will capture those automatically, sometimes one at a time, but they also can take a list or take an export of citations from a search if you want to collect a whole lot of them at the same time. A citation manager will help you to organize your reading and keep track of PDFs and other related documents. You can use it to add citations to your writing. You can use it to convert easily between citation styles. So if you submit a paper in Chicago style and it turns out they want it in APA, you should be able to rapidly and automatically make that change. And all of the citation managers that we'll look at today also will allow you to share reading lists. So you can take a list of things that you've already read and let other people take a look at that, at least at the citation details as well. So on the website that accompanies this workshop, there are 3 tabs, one for each citation manager. Each tab features a video where one of us will show how to use the tool to save a citation to an article and how to add a reference to a paper. We'll each take about 10 minutes to discuss each platform, to describe the strengths and the benefits, and then we'll take questions from the chat box after each presentation. If you have a question about a specific complicated scenario, we would love to help you with those, but that might be more appropriate for a one-on-one conversation. So if you have a real detailed specific question, we'll have our contact information at the end, and we'd be happy to do a Zoom or a in-person conversation to troubleshoot some of those problems. Sue, anything else you need to share before we get started on Mendeley?
No, that was great. Let's go ahead with talking about why you might choose Mendeley.
All right.
So again, I'm Sue. I'm the engineering librarian here, and that's how I was introduced to Mendeley. And like all of the 3 tools we're discussing today, the Mendeley or Mendeley.com citation management tool allows you to store, edit, cite, annotate the materials that you read and use as a bibliographic reference within your own writing, or as you just maintain a reading list. Mendeley was created by a couple of engineering graduate students back in the day, not at UNLV, but elsewhere. And it was then purchased and is still owned by the Elsevier Publishing Company. So perhaps because of this development history, it remains really good at journal article citation data, not so great at some of the other format types. But if you are primarily using journal articles, conference papers, it might become your preferred favorite tool. Next slide, please. So the main reason that I use Mendeley is that it provides the ability to share and collaboratively annotate full-text PDF files of the items you save with a group of collaborators. You're able to also store multiple files for each, like underneath each item that you store in your Mendeley library collection. And this can be super helpful if you're working with research team members that are outside of your current university system. So you can have industry partners, you can have students from other places, you can have people throughout UNLV be a part of your research team and do that kind of collaborative literature searching and building of a collection and then annotating of things within that collection. And I keep checking. Elsevier continues to support this type of full text file sharing under fair use principles and similar principles of other copyright laws around the globe. So that's one of the main reasons I choose it. Next slide, please. So I talked about annotation. There is an additional annotation tool within your Mendeley library that is a bit more than simply making annotations on the PDF copy that you've saved. It's called Notebook, and it does function a little bit like kind of a spiral bound or 3-ring binder notebook, where you begin perhaps to consolidate your notes and annotations across multiple information items, multiple journal articles, things like that. My cat is weighing in. I apologize if you can hear her. So this notebook also allows you to highlight and copy direct quotes from multiple items into your notebook storage area. And this is nice because, as you can see in the example there, the top thing is sort of formatted differently. That's a direct quote that I've highlighted in one article. And it is linked back to the original, the source. And it's obvious to me that that's different than the other things that I've kind of typed myself. And this is really helpful to help you keep track of what were your words and what are the words of the already published authors, the things that are already protected under copyright. And it can be super useful as you are writing to help you avoid plagiarism. So I will say that as you write and make notes within your notebook, either the Mendeley notebook or elsewhere, you're still going to need to kind of make a note, somehow code it so that you know where that idea came from or what you're referring to within each of your own thoughts and insights that you've noted within any kind of notebook, really. Next slide. One of the nice things about Mendeley is that while the primary storage is in the cloud and available to you online, you are able to download a software version onto a local machine, local computer. It is very creatively called Reference Manager, and it will allow you to work offline. You will need to ensure that before you then go back out to the internet browser and access your cloud library, that you've gotten back online with your local copy and synchronized and pushed the updates to the cloud storage. But it's really nice if you need to work on a plane and won't have internet access for a period of time, or if you want to turn off distractions but work within your annotated, make annotations and read things within your library if you want to kind of be offline for a period of time to help you with focus. Like all of the tools we're talking about today, there is the tool that allows you to link to items in your library and generate those in-text citations, and also the lists at the end of your paper. It is also very creatively named Cite. It's nice and portable. You can quickly load it onto any computer that you're working on for the day or for the, the period of time. And you can log in and out of your personal Mendeley library within that tool once you have it added to the Microsoft Word product. I will note that I'm just going to make a note of a limitation here. Mendeley currently only really works with Microsoft Word products. So if you're using LibreOffice, if you're using Google Docs for your drafting, Mendeley is not currently the tool for you. It seems they've recently lost the ability to work with the LibreOffice products, which is a little disappointing. There are a few additional features of Mendeley above and beyond the citation management and file storage and annotation tools. If you were to log into your online Mendeley.com account, before you dive into the details of your personal library, there's like a splash screen that says "Welcome to Mendeley." In the lower left corner of that screen view, you'll see some additional tools. They've had a careers one, which is kind of neat for looking at job opportunities, but apparently it's going away in June. They are continuing to maintain a data set finding and data set archiving option, which is nice because US federal funded things are more and more likely to require you to store your data somewhere unless there are privacy confidentiality rules that you need to maintain and get an exemption. So something to consider. You could, of course, use it for that and then use a different citation management software, but it's something to know about. And last Mendeley slide, please. Something to note, which you might have picked up on already, is that things change in Mendeley's world. I don't know if it qualifies as proper agile software development, but that's how it feels to somebody who frequently talks about Mendeley.com. Things change. Under Elsevier's ownership, it really has started to have more rapid changes. Sometimes additions, sometimes things stop working, sometimes things go away. They have been responsive to user feedback on details in the recent past, but that might also be something that changes. I will say that they have been maintaining the core citation management features. So that's been nice and pretty stable. So you may want to keep an eye on their notifications that they send or that splash up on the screen if you're using Mendeley. And also they do have support pages. One of the new features that I actually forgot to mention is that groups within Mendeley who are sharing files and library entries are able to use those with the Cite as you write cite tool as you are authoring a document. So that's Mendeley. That's why you might choose Mendeley. Are there any quick Mendeley questions before we move on to RefWorks? Hearing and seeing none. Let's talk about RefWorks. I'm actually sitting up a couple of inches taller for some reason with RefWorks. Don't know why. So RefWorks is a citation management tool or software that is owned by a different publishing and library company. This one's known as Ex Libris. And it is, I've got a note here I can't read real quick. It was also bought by ProQuest, which was bought by Clarivate. And this is useful to know because it means that there's not a lot of friction or impediments when you're exporting RefWorks from data into RefWorks from a lot of different common library databases that are owned by these overarching companies like ProQuest and Clarivate. You may have recognized those names because you might see them on the things that you're using to search for literature. All right, here we go. So RefWorks is totally cloud-based, so there's nothing to install. It is good for folks who are kind of mobile in the way that you write and do your literature searching. It's really good if you move among different computers throughout the day or throughout the week. By default, it does not save the full text PDF files that you find. It defaults to primarily save the citation information, article title, author names, and publication info, along with a link back to where they came from. So you can go back to it and then read it online, choose to download it at that time. So you have the option to add the full text PDF file if you'd like, but this is, because it's cloud-based, it's really nice to be able to quickly import a complete list of search results that you've gotten off of a really, well dialed in, really successful library database search. You can just grab the whole set and plunk it into your RefWorks database. You may have noticed while exploring RefWorks that there's a search databases link. Currently, there's only one database that we have configured to work from inside of the RefWorks interface, and that's PubMed, which is a pretty popular database for folks in the life sciences and for folks who are searching around stuff related to medical or psychological research. So most users will search their database on their normal database platform like an EBSCO, Clarivate, ProQuest, and things like that. Then they'll mark a list of items that you want to keep within that database and then save them out or export them to the RefWorks thing. And I see a question and I'm going to get to that. I promise. One of the quirks from RefWorks is that the default, of course, is not to grab a copy of the full text document. Mendeley tends to do that when possible, when it's available and the software tool sees it. So once you create that citation, again, you can drag and drop the PDF into your RefWorks storage, or you can upload it, but you'll need to do that one entry at a time, which can be kind of a meditative opportunity to do some busy work before you start doing hard work again. How about that? But it's something you need to factor into your workflow. Another kind of quirky thing about RefWorks is that sometimes you will get an incomplete citation data, and you'll have to go in there and use some of their find data options that they have to look it up using a DOI number or the URL that's available. So that is one of the things you can do in RefWorks. That's kind of handy. Next slide, please. It's nice. RefWorks has a lot of good organizational tools within it to organize your content. You can create not only folders, but you can create kind of, you might want to think of them as a file box or a file drawer or a project that has folders within it. So this can be really handy if you've got something that you're doing for work, something that you're doing for your thesis dissertation workshop, and then something you're doing over here for another grant proposal. It can be really useful to have these nice, clean separations amongst your content. This can be really useful also if you're doing certain types of work that requires you to sort through large numbers of citation entries and then do deduplication or annotate them in some way. So systematic reviews are a research method that kind of analyzes the existing literature. RefWorks is one of the products that a lot of people who do that type of evidence-based systematic review work find can be a good tool. Again, lots of different ways to view the contents of your library. And in the video on that LibGuide, that again, the link's in the chat, we showed you one way, and then this slide shows you a couple of different other ways that you can kind of choose to modify the view so that you can quickly scan through your library and see it the way you want. The citation view is quite nice because when you're going through the stage of your process, of your literature review process, where you're double checking the data to make sure that you've got all the citation information you need, you can quickly view and scan for things that appear to be missing. Let's see, RefWorks, again, I mentioned systematic reviews is a research method that might use deduplication of entries. And RefWorks is really good at highlighting, locating duplicate entries, and then helping you choose how to merge them together or select the one that contains the most data. There is a way for you to combine the data, but it's not the automatic choice when you're deduplicating. And this is something that we can help you with offline if this is part of your workflow. Yes, so there's a question in the chat already. Is RefWorks compatible with Word, Microsoft Word, just like Mendeley? Yes, RefWorks does also work with Microsoft Word. Microsoft Word is supported by all three of these tools, I believe, but double check me in a minute on Zotero. It's Google Docs and some of the other word processing software that are less supported and not supported by the Mendeley product, but RefWorks does work well with Microsoft Word.
So RefWorks does require access to an institutional subscription. UNLV currently has access through OIT, which sponsors RefWorks access for the entire campus. However, we have received word that that is likely to change in the next year. It may be that the libraries will sponsor access. It may be that RefWorks access will no longer be offered to UNLV. That is a factor that I would take into consideration if I were planning a multi-year project, because it's tough to get a year into something and then have to. It's certainly possible to export all of your citations from RefWorks, but because RefWorks deals with individual files one at a time, if you had 100 PDFs saved in RefWorks, you would have to download 100 PDFs one at a time to get those back out. So worth
Yeah.
knowing that RefWorks may not be a continuing option for us.
Right. And the other thing to consider, you can move things between them. Mendeley has a free version. We pay for a little bit of extra storage. RefWorks requires a institutional subscription. Zotero starts out as free as well, and then you can add on if you choose. So, but with that, I think we should talk about Zotero.
Okay. So the option I'm here to advocate for is Zotero. I've used all three of these bibliography managers that we're looking at today. For my research, Zotero works the best. Many of my sources are books, websites, or historical primary sources like maps or items from special collections that aren't available as structured PDFs like journal articles are. I also need a system that lets me store related files like screenshots or notes that I have taken about an article. So the trade-off is I choose to pay a little bit for extra storage for Zotero. You can get a free account in Zotero. You can download the software onto your computer and save everything on your computer, and you don't need cloud storage. I find it convenient, so for me, it's worth it to pay a little bit for extra storage, and we'll look at that in a second. So the sources I use range from interactive web pages where I'm building charts on the fly to 100-year-old historical primary sources to print reference books that aren't available anywhere. Zotero does a really nice job with a range of source types like chapters or conference proceedings or podcasts. When I add them to my library, Zotero can automatically recognize that they're not journal articles and change the fields that it requests for my preferred citation style. The reason is because Zotero was designed by researchers in the humanities. The competitors are designed and maintained by information vendors who optimize access to the kind of information that they resell. I can even add a physical book that's sitting on my desk to my Zotero library using the barcode scanner on my phone. Zotero will also keep track of articles that have been retracted. So if I add a journal article to my library and it is subsequently added to, there's a national database or a global database called Retraction Watch that's a project that keeps an eye on scholarly publishing, and when articles are retracted, will disseminate that information along with an explanation of why they were retracted. So in my Zotero library, items that have been retracted by a journal are flagged in my library and link me out to the explanation. If you subscribe to saved searches or to current awareness alerts, like there's a journal that lets you know when new issues come out and it gives you maybe the table of contents of those, there is a way to review those in your Zotero account. So I have a saved search in a history database that shows me when new articles mentioning Las Vegas comes out. I can view that feed from inside my Zotero account and link out to the new articles and then easily add them to my library or go read them from there. I like to take notes and keep them with my sources. Zotero lets me attach multiple files to each library item. So when I add an item to my library, it will automatically collect the PDF if it's a journal article and the citation information. But if I have an associated screenshot of a web page or a text file or a photo that I'd like to keep in the same place as that article, it's easy for me to attach those related materials. Because it's so easy to save items to my library, sometimes I'll snag an article but then forget why I saved it. That's why I love that I can highlight some text on the page at the time that I saved the item, and it will add it as a note that's attached to the item in my library. I can set Zotero to automatically rename files, so when I do save a PDF to my computer and then I want to search for it later, maybe to attach it to an email or something, it will have a meaningful title because it's been renamed by Zotero, rather than, JSTOR. JSTOR names all my files as 7-digit numbers, which is not super human friendly. If I'm reading articles from my Zotero collection on my iPad, I can annotate on the document with a pencil or with the keyboard. I can also highlight text and then have it pulled out into a separate text file that gets stored alongside the article. One last note-taking feature is that Zotero will capture a screenshot of any web page that you collect a citation from. So it's not unusual for online newspaper articles to be updated as new information comes to light. The snapshot will document exactly what was published at the time I viewed the page. So I'll have a link that will go back to the page that may show the latest version of an article, but I also have the screenshot that shows the version of the article that I was viewing at the time that I saved it. So your use of cloud storage in Zotero is optional. If privacy is important to your project, you can run Zotero without connecting to the cloud and store everything in a secure location that you control. I like the convenience of syncing my articles to my iPad and to my laptop, so I choose to pay a little extra to use their cloud storage. So you probably already know someone who uses Zotero. If you don't, my contact information, and Sue's as well, is on the library website. Last time I had a question about using Zotero, I posted on their online help forum. One of the developers got back to me within 2 hours and we got the problem fixed. So here's my final pitch for Zotero. As they say on the internet, poor citation practice there, if you're not paying for it, you become the product. So Zotero is a non-commercial, grant-funded academic project that was designed to serve the academic community. Most of its competitors are owned by for-profit information vendors who may have an interest in doing things with the data that they collect from users. I'm not saying that they're spying, I'm just saying that there must be something in it for them to continue to provide the platform. If you're someone who cites books and other non-PDF journal article sources regularly, or if you like the idea of filing your notes alongside your articles, or if you need to be notified when papers are retracted, Zotero might be a good option for you. So that is our showdown. That is our comparison of the sort of the unique features of the 3 different citation manager programs. If you would like to see what they actually look like in action, the webpage that we linked to at the top of the chat there has 5-minute video demonstrations of how to collect a citation and how to use the citation software to make a bibliography entry for each of these 3. And I think that's probably the most direct way to get a sense of what they look like and how they might work for you. But at this point, we can take questions if folks have them.
Thank you so much, Priscilla and Sue. Anybody that wants to ask questions, they can unmute themselves. They can type them in the chat. They can directly chat me if you guys want to remain anonymous. But yeah, let's open the floor up for some questions. Thank you once again.
Have the folks in the room already experimented with any of these? Is there anyone who has a citation manager that they use that they like a lot, maybe that we didn't mention? A couple Zotero users, a Mendeley user. If you just need a quick citation on the fly, there is a Zotero affiliated web service that you can use. You can go to the zbib.org is the website. zbib.org, and I think it redirects to Zotero bibliography. This is a very simple page where you can enter a URL to a scholarly journal article or the DOI, and then you click cite and it will automatically generate a citation that you can copy and paste. It will keep a running list in your web browser so that you can come back to it, but it doesn't require any setup. It doesn't require any downloads or infrastructure like the full featured citation managers that we've been discussing today.
This is great. I'm going to be using it too. So thank you so much once again, Priscilla and Sue, for your expertise and for your time. This workshop is going to be available on the Graduate College YouTube channel. And then we would like to thank to our participants too that joined us today. But if there aren't any more questions, I think we can end this workshop. Thank you once again.
Thanks for having us.
Of course. And have a great day.